What's up, guys? Bacon Bibo here. I'm here with MoRZe. We are going to talk about all the new updates for closed beta patch 26 for Paladins. We'll go down the list and just talk about like the general fixes and then all the new updates to the champions and whatnot. I'm a little bit excited about the patch. It's a little bit frustrating with the tournament coming up and everything changes.
It does suck a couple days before, but it feels like the game has become balanced.
Yeah, I think that's something that they're really working on is balancing the champs. But one cool thing, if you guys are new to the game, is if you don't have the Founders Pack, you do have to buy champions with gold. And the free champions have now been updated to Fernando, Eevee, Ruckus, Canessa, Cassie, Drogos, and Pip, which is a pretty good lineup.
I would say all of them.
Yeah, I think
we don't get the chance to play Grover, but other than that, I mean.
Yeah, and there's some other champions there too, but I think that those would be the most fun to start out with. You really get a good gist of the game with Fernando being a tank, Eevee being able to be mobile and get shit and stuff, Ruckus being able to rip everything, Nissa being the sniping class, Drogos being flying class, and yeah, exactly. So it's fun. Other than that, some big updates. We're not going to go through all of them, just some of the ones that we really liked. Was now there's going to be login bonuses, so people who play the game, that really brings an incentive to people on the game. So that's nice. Yeah, I know that now you can get gold for logging in every day, except for the last 6th and 7th days of the week. If you log in a row, you'll get crystals now, which you can buy chests of skins, which is nice because that way you don't have to spend your money on crystals otherwise. And if you're logging in every day, you're gonna get gold to get cards. So you can be grinding out games. That's pretty much all of like the general things that they're doing. Just polishing basically for the other stuff, and not too much of a
less clipping.
Yeah, hopefully that's what we'll get, because there is a lot of like you're trying to like run around a corner, but you're hitting a tree that's like
wall that
exactly.
You just clip on and you just can't get around, and that's just
so the map changes. You have Temple Ruins and Enchanted Forest have been reduced in size, which they've already done this before. At least with
I think one.
Yeah, with I think it was Temple
really?
Ruins. They
reduced Temple
Ruins in size. Now they're doing it again, which I guess is okay. I didn't really think that they needed to do it, but we'll see how it plays out. Doesn't seem
makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it's maybe the reducing in size would create more children.
But also the chance to stop them from capturing. If the maps are so big, it takes so long
to get back. There's no second.
Like whoever wins the first initial fight gets the cap. And that's like,
yeah, that can be tough.
And also, you want to make
yeah. And one thing that we should add too from the general stuff is before you were getting like 550 credits for defending a payload put, where the people who were capping it and pushing it would get nothing. And now they've changed that, so if you capture the point, you get 100 credits. And if you push the payload, you get 100 credits. Winning both, plus the 4. Now, if you just defend the payload, you're getting 200 credits. So there's not really going to be that strategy of let them get the first point, we'll defend, get 600 credits or whatnot, and just farm kills and then buy everything. Also, aggression, which is I think it was like 25% more damage or something like that, and then develop, which gave you 600 more health. Both of those burn cards have been removed from the game. And burn cards last the whole round. They don't go with being killed, which I actually kind of like the fact that if you killed someone, the burn cards left.
I like that.
Yeah, I kind of like that too, but
it brings back the comeback.
Yeah,
you can't have this
exactly.
huge snowballing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I killed him. Now he made the mistake of dying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. One cool thing too is they've added a survival arena. It's called Skirmish Arena. There's a 50% chance that you're gonna play that map compared to playing Glacier Keep, Enchanted Forest, and Temple Ruins. So you'll get Skirmish Arena 50% of the times you queue up in survival.
That's pretty cool.
Which was pretty cool, and it really looked like a team deathmatch like type of map. Like you could just kind of just run around and just get kills and have fun with it, which is kind of cool considering I think that this game is more of an FPS than it is MOBA. And if you look at any FPS on a esports thing, on an esports level, it's not just one game mode to win a game.
That's true.
You play capture the flag, you play
search and destroy,
so you play all these different game modes. So I would like to see, exactly, yeah, and so I would like to see Paladins go from just capture and payload or siege or whatever they're going to call it to, you know, that one, and then just payload, and then like a death match.
That's what I was just wondering
see
too
how
if
it
they
goes.
ever going to make us do that.
Yeah.
Like a tournament type.
Exactly. It would be pretty cool. They've added some new updates for spectator mode, but nothing too big that has to do with general players, really.
That's not.
Casual players don't really have to worry about that. One thing that I can add too on the payload carts, they did add a sensor that is now dome before the around the payload. So before you would have to stand pretty close to the payload for it to register that you're there and to go send it into overtime. Now you can be above it too. So that kind of works for Androxus and around. So.
That's kind of cool. I didn't know that. How high is the vertical?
It's pretty. I think it's pretty big because they also did extend the range of the payload.
Well,
people
cool.
felt like they were like, I'm on it. What the heck? Why did we just not get? Why did we lose? Or why didn't it go?
Yeah,
Extended it a bit.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Champions, balance updates and fixes for all the champions. There is quite a bit of stuff that they did.
And see here, they're making it more of a MOBA. This
exactly.
idea. So
Yes,
that's
exactly.
Cool. I
yeah.
like that.
All champions now fall under one of 5 class types, which is to me is smart because it seemed like the general idea was to have every champion do everything, but then it didn't make sense because if every champion was doing everything, then why do we have different champions? They're just different skills. That's it. That's the only.
And if they're able to do everything, some characters add more health, and therefore they're broken than the other. So it's just like.
And now that they're put into these 5 classes, it will be easier, I think, for them to create new champions because they'll be able to just throw them under a class and fit that mold instead of trying to put them out through everything. So right now the 5 classes are protectors, strikers, blasters, sharpshooters, and fighters. Right now with protectors, Barrack, Fernando, and Grok are protectors. So I think that they all fit under that mold. And some of them were changed and things, but they all fit.
Grok was reworked, so he's more of a protector now.
Yeah, which is cool. Strikers, Androxus, Eevee, and Sky. That makes sense. The hardest part for me is seeing like blasters and strikers. Like, what's the real difference between those? Because Pip can still get behind. I suppose those ones would be the easier dash behind and or blink.
Well, they have way more mobility than the other ones. And Sky has the turn invisible.
Yeah. So then blasters are Drogos and Pip, which makes sense. Ying
Sharpshooter, yeah, I feel
really
like they just threw her in there, just like
doesn't really fall under sharpshooters. Maybe they'll change her a bit so she can do something a little bit different. But she does deal a lot of
a blaster and
illusions. Yeah, and it like from what I understand on Ying is you have to hold her beam on the person the whole time to get as many. Like you get like 3 from it. It's not just like tick. It's like tick, 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 if you can keep it on it. So I guess it's a, kind of a sharpshooter thing, and she can deal high damage.
Yeah, I know.
Fighters, Buck, Grover, and Ruckus. Buck has been out of meta ever since they took some of it.
They really nerfed that guy, but he had a little buff.
Yeah.
I
think that's
Grover and Ruckus are just strong right now.
Yeah, Grover and Ruckus. Oof. But with aggression taken out of the game, and with Warden now going to be a specialty card, might be a little bit harder playing. Or if he had aggression, he was doing like 85 damage per tick or per like hit on his minigun. If you had aggression, it was like 105. Yeah, it was nuts. He could just shred through people.
Plus, they shoot so fast, just his attack speed. You don't even need damage cards on that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You can build utility and so do tons of damage when heights in the game.
Arguably, utility would help you out more because you'll stay alive.
You survive more, therefore you're dealing more damage.
As long as you're hitting your shots, you're good. So those are that's the overall updates for the champion, how they're going to separate them, but there are also balances and update fixes per champion. We'll just go down the line and we'll talk about Androxus first. Defiance, it added a twirl sound and a grip, so you'll be able to hear that, I suppose, a little bit more with Defiance is his ultimate. You might be able to hear that just a little bit more. It seems like that's something that they're really trying to do is polish the game before they add ranked mode or add whatever it might be. That's just how it feels. Because if you look at a lot of their updates and fixes, a lot of them are like sounds. It's just sound stuff.
Yeah, visuals and stuff for Androxus. But Barrack had some changes to him.
Yeah, but for Androxus, it's mostly sound stuff, which is fine because there are times where you're like, what am I getting hit by? And then
his ultimate,
and you just get hit by his ult, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just got blasted down by 3 of his ultimate shots, and you had no idea he'd even used it. But if we go down the line, go to Barrack, they added improvements to reload sound, and they added new turret sounds. No longer, the turrets no longer deal 60 fire damage. So they didn't say if they were reduced. So I'm going to assume they took all DOT stuff out.
First turrets.
First turrets, yeah.
Yeah, which is cool, but then they increases turrets damage from 140 and 2.
So they gave him another 60 damage. So,
but that's per hit rather than the
over time. Yeah. Which,
like,
to be honest, as Barrack, you kind of wanted that damage over time because it stopped them from healing. You know, or it made them long and they couldn't mount.
But you know how lucky those turrets could be.
Yeah, they can really suck. As long as the turrets don't have significant slow, you should be okay. The barricade added improvements to power down sound, so you're going to be hearing that stuff. Added new visual effects for his rocket boots, and they reduced the base duration of his rocket boots from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds.
I actually like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Who knows? Who knows how it feels? I'm actually kind of surprised that they lowered it so much, but because he's a protector, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes he's actually been...
Yeah, that's how I feel about Grok.
Ghost Walk is like, yeah, that Ghost Walk and that's even worse than his rocket boot, but I like it. They were doing.
Yeah, and it fits the protector.
He's supposed to be the front line. Exactly. Protector's the front line, so if he's able to run away, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah,
and not only run away, but chase. People don't always look at that. Like Fernando, the freaking hot pursuit Nando, whatever they called it. God, he's just crazy. He could just chase you around no matter who you were.
The amount of damage you were doing, he was doing.
Yeah, he hit, like, even if you're you know, Kinessa, and you throw your thing down or your teleporter, you get away. If he hits you with his fireball, he'll catch up to you in 2 seconds. It's crazy. Yeah. They reworked Barrack's dome shield. It's been removed.
It's been removed. Yeah, it's been removed, and they added a mega turret.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
That's his. Yeah, that's his ultimate now is mega turret, which they used to have mega turret, but now it's a little bit different. It's not the same. It's actually a huge mega turret, and it causes AOE damage, which is actually kind of nice because if you're a protector, just because you have a shield, that can be focused down pretty quickly if someone takes a burn carve wrecker. And now if you have this mega turret, it does AoE damage, and I think it pushes you back as well.
If it pushes you back, then he might be
He's still a good pick.
Good pick.
What I like about it is that they reworked him a little bit, but they didn't take him out of meta.
I like that. I'm okay with the stuff he did.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Then if we scroll down and we go down to Buck, his again another sound, you know, just a sound change for a shrapnel cannon, regular left mouse button, and then they increase his damage by 5.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he needs a little.
I think he needed a little bit. Yeah, because no one was taking. He was like people will play him, and that was only if you're queuing with other people, and like someone can.
He's
go
useful.
Together.
He can get some kills, but he's definitely bottom tier.
Yeah, his net shot is nice.
It is.
But other than that, it's You can. I'm surprised though with Buck that people haven't tried to utilize his skill to push the payload.
His ultimate.
Yeah.
His wall. You mean?
Yeah, his wall.
Yeah. I mean that'd be good, but how else is he? Cooldown is.
Yeah,
it's so
long. Yeah, I think that's why they didn't take him. And before he was doing like 600 damage with concussion for every time he jumped on you, and he could jump twice.
So it's 1200.
1200 damage. Yeah, and if before with aggression, if you had that card with you, were basically killing any squishy champion.
Yeah, he was ridiculously broken. Then he healed for a ton.
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't kill him. Even if you had got him down, he could jump like half the map basically.
Another big one. I'd say you can jump higher though.
Yep, you can jump higher, which is
good.
Which is good, and it'll be harder. Like really, the only champion that shoots straight. Well, there's two, Kinessa and Cass. Because all the other champions like Eevee and even Barrack,
straight doesn't he?
A little bit, yeah, but it's still, but it will still kind of, it will slowly wither down. I think with the projectile.
The Eevee also shoots straight.
Yeah, but again, because it's a slower projectile speed, it won't. I don't think it automatically shoots. Not much. I think there's a little bit of drop. I'm not positive, but I think there's. But if we go down to Drogo's, Salvo, which is his Q, was reduced damage by Salvo to 230. It doesn't say what it came from, like what it was at. I think it was at like 300 or 350 or something.
I think it hurt a lot.
Yeah, especially getting hit with, if you got hit with all 6 shots, you're pretty much dead. And then they increased the explosion radius of Salvo rockets by 50%. So even though they reduced the damage, there's more AoE on it.
With that strategy where the Salvo actually push people back, may still be really increased.
Yeah, exactly. We charge delay after boost increase from 0.2 seconds to 0.5 seconds.
I like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
He was able to always boost. really hard for some
And
people.
yeah, because if you're playing Pip, if you're playing Eric, pretty much anyone, it's hard to hit him.
It is
when
difficult.
he's flying. Yeah. But that's what they did with Drogo's. If you go down to Eevee, it's just new weapon fire and sound stuff. Way that it looks.
No changes, no buffs, no nerfs.
No, really anything with her. At least with this. Yeah. Fernando, his Immortal, improved their presentation. So just just more polish. Yeah. They changed a tooltip on it that was telling you cannot be brought below 100 HP, but it's actually 1500. Which that ultimate actually makes sense now. But when you think about it too, a lot of champions don't have much higher than like that E. So it's pretty nice. If you're a Fernando and you can use your ultimate at the right time, you can save a bunch of people and destroy.
Well, useful right now.
Yeah.
His ultimate, his range is also enormous. I've seen him use it, and some of the players like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
Immortal,
pretty
whatever you
big.
want.
And with a
it's
card,
huge.
you can heal everybody up to a certain point with the ultimate.
He's a great protector.
And then, but they did reduce his damage from 38 to 32, which they needed to do.
They needed that.
Yeah,
So
they did
bad.
need to do that. And this is like the 1% of players who play Fernando who got really, really good at it. But as soon as people knew what deck they were running, and if you just played him 6 matches, you'd figure it out.
Yeah, he was difficult. There is no skill shot. I mean,
exactly.
only skilled elements when to use your shields and knowing the limits of your character. But that's
exactly. Yeah. Grok's healing totem was reworked. It's no longer like a healing totem. It's called Totemic Ward, which now which is his Q. So whenever he uses his Q, it will spawn a dome shield. So he actually gets Barrack's dome shield. That's why he's put into that protector realm of things, which is kind of cool. Yeah, it's don't like I said, like they changed him. They reworked him, but they still made him useful and in meta.
I like that because his healing tome made it hard for him to use as a team-oriented type. Now,
Exactly.
Like the shield is more of a team protector front line.
Yeah, and it won't heal you on a base thing, but you take a card and then it will heal people inside, which actually really helps because if people are inside the dome, they can't be hit and they're gonna get healed.
When the shield, it's gone. I mean, I like the dynamic of that.
Me too. His lightning staff weapon range reduced from 100 units to 80 units, which really needed to be done.
I've been asking for that for the
so
longest
long,
time.
right? And I think playing Grok all the time. I think my Grok's level like 14. I knew it needed to be done.
Yeah, a lot of those main Grok players were saying no.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Like the difference between Cassie and any of those long rangers, like if I shoot, they move again, but for Grok, he just holds down until you hit the head marker.
Yeah.
And then just follow him.
Yeah, exactly.
And the range is like it's huge.
You know how easy it was to be able to kill an Eevee who was on a broom because you could just follow her. She couldn't get away.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, the other skill shot base with the longer range.
So another thing that they did with Grok is they did nerf his damage from 37 to, which isn't too much, but it's probably
something of
about a second. It's probably taking off about 50. I think.
Almost.
Yeah, something like that. And then they increase like what the lightning beam looks like and the sounds and stuff like they're doing with everything. They're adding more polish.
What do you feel about the damage nerf?
Yeah, I think that the damage nerf is actually okay because it sucks though playing him and seeing that it's going down. But it's the same. They had to do it because they're changing the role. The champions are actually putting them into a class. And if you were to continue to do a lot of damage and give him a shield, it would still be the same problem all the other champions already having, where they could have shields and like Fernando, he has a shield, then he gets on his horse and he has a mount shield, and then he dashes and he has a shield on that too. And with Grok, what I would like to do is I just place my Q down, which is my totem, so I'm healing, and I get a movement speed. So because of that, you just wouldn't get hit by the skill shot champions, but you're still doing a lot of damage because he does hit faster, and it was pretty crazy. But I think that this is needed, and it will help balance him a little bit more.
A player who always plays against a Grok, I feel like something.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's Grok. So we'll go down to Grover. Again, they just added some sounds and fixes here.
No buffs, no nerfs. So I mean, he's a threat.
Yeah. But it's everything for Grover basically is just fixed polish wise. Sounds, visuals.
Something that cracked me up. If anyone's ever was able to fly across the map.
Yeah, I've never seen this. I've never seen this happen.
Where tree just
yeah, I mean, I've seen like the vines be like really long, and people attach the vines to Eevee. Have you seen that when they attach it to Eevee and she gets on a broom and he just chases her down?
Well, I've seen it where he gets attached. Actually, that only happens to me. get attached and they get stuck in the wall and
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
go anywhere. That's happened to me a couple times.
Oh,
They
yeah.
turn a corner.
Yeah, I've seen that too. But like with Grover, the vine would catch up to the player so fast that
Yeah.
you wouldn't ever just follow her all the way to the longest duration. I don't think. I've never seen it. But yeah, they basically with Grover they just fixed a bunch of his sound and visual stuff, which is cool. Yeah, it's cool because the more polished the game gets, the more like it's getting closer and closer. With Kinessa, they added improvements to reload sounds. Her Oppressor Mine now plays a confirmation sound when an enemy champion is hit by the Oppressor Mine. Who I hate those mines too, but without them, she's pretty much terrible.
Yeah, I agree. Like he needs them.
Yeah.
Cool, but I hate them.
Yeah. They're definitely hard.
It's one of those things like you can't really move them, nerf them.
Pointless. Yeah, because Kinessa's really hard in this game right now because of the small amount of champions. Because what we saw was Kinessa was fun to play, but could be focused. Then they buffed the shit out of her, and she would kill pretty much every champion in one shot. Yeah, maybe two, depending on who you were. Or if you're like Fernanda, you might take 3 or 4. But if you were playing any squishy damage dealer camp, if you were going on a point, you were getting smoked. So she's hard to balance. I think she's probably gonna be.
She is gonna be a difficult balance
because she can't be too slow, and she's got to be able to get away because every other champion can get away. But she can't hit too hard either because she's not right into the fight either. She has more. And another thing, fixes that are coming to our hitboxes, so she'll be harder to hit shot.
She needs to be.
Yeah.
It needs to be more like a Counter-Strike type.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but what I've noticed in this and Paladin so far, she doesn't have the, I don't know what the mechanics call it, the breathing techniques of the sniper. Like you don't have to hold a button to hold your breath. It's a straight shot. Yeah.
Maybe.
And one thing with Kinessa too is if you're playing with Kinessa on the East Coast compared to and playing somebody on the West Coast, their servers are so bad right now on West Coast that it's tough. Yeah,
it's hard.
It's hard. Yeah.
But with Kinessa, I mean, it's just a huge fat hit.
Yeah, exactly. The hitboxes on every champion. And
but for a sniper shot, do that much damage is.
Especially, yeah, and there's not a bunch of like you can pretty much jump.
I mean, obviously you don't deal lots of damage. There's been bad Kinessa when you're decent and able to shoot. She's doing too much damage.
Yeah, exactly.
To the point where she hits one person and somebody off with another.
Yeah, and that's because of hitboxes. Really.
Yeah,
it's just too easy to hit that shot. Like a very very casual person like Kinessa would be good at her if they play her long enough, and they have a team that's kind of helping. Whereas if you're playing CS:GO and using an AWP,
the only way I feel like balancer is that. Anything else is just you're fine with her.
Yeah,
the hitbox is it.
Exactly. So if we scroll down to Pip has a couple changes, and most of them are sound and stuff, but they talk about some of his.
I do like this new general.
Yeah. So the general fix for him is explosive flask, healing potion, potion launcher, and evil mojo no longer explode in the air and must collide with something to explode. This actually really helps Pip players because before you were kind of throwing your Q and it would go a certain range and it would just explode, even though you were in range to hit that person. You just had to arc it maybe a little bit. So that made it a little bit. It made it hard because everyone else's shots would just keep going. So yeah, and plus Pip is like one of the only champions where almost everyone else shoots straight. Yeah. So
geometry with.
Yeah, and again with all these new sound things, it's going to be much easier directional wise to know where people are.
I like that.
Yeah, so like his waitlist is going to add more of like a bouncy sound to it, springy sounds.
But I think that's more towards for the player who's playing the character.
Yeah, maybe, but if you can hear somebody a little bit better,
that's good.
Yeah. Because unlike other games, this is an FPS. So you still need to be able to hear where people are.
You should be able
to. So a big change too is with his ultimate, Evil Mojo. When cast on a player with CC immunity, the player is instead polymorphed for a minimum duration. I don't know what the minimum duration is, like the smallest amount of time.
I had no clue the minimum duration.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Yeah, but I can't even think of a time with CC immunity other than ultimate. But I'm trying to think of something. What it might be, but I can't. Right? Maybe CC. I don't even know what it would be. To be honest.
Like for example.
Oh yeah.
Being a CC.
He might be, yeah. Maybe.
Anyone with a shield is pretty much.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if you hit the shield, if it will splash and it'll put him under, for a second or two, whatever the minimum, and they'll come back.
I don't know.
But one thing that I don't like about Evil Mojo is, let's say if you're fighting against a Ruckus 1v1, you got your ult. Most of the time you don't want to use your ultimate 1v1, but if you had to just stay alive, you do it. And if you, let's say Ruckus pops his emitter, and you hit him with your ultimate, hit the chicken, the polymorph chicken still has emitter.
Yeah, and he's just like that, and also
flying around, he's still flying. Which to me, if you ult him, he should lose all the abilities.
I'm okay with the emitter because he cast it right before you threw the Mojo. It's just a way to count. But the flying around really quickly, so you can't.
So you can't hit him. Yeah, it's pointless.
And he can get away from you. So that's especially Ruckus. Ruckus flies for days.
Yeah, and I mean, and Drogo's because he can get on. He can like fly up using his jetpack. So it just seems weird. But I would like to see Evil Mojo, because it doesn't deal damage, remove skill. That's what I would like to see. It might be, or maybe reduce it. If they have some sort of shield on them already, it reduces the health on them. Because if you use Evil Mojo when Ruckus is using a shield, it's no longer a I can kill you or have a higher chance of killing you. It's a okay, you can't hit me, now I have to run, which kind of sucks because you're using your ultimate. But who knows? Ultimates though that grant CC immunity are an exception to this. So, for instance, like Ruckus's ult with Hexafire or with Tempest on Grok, you can't ult them and nullify their ultimate, which makes sense. Like it kind of does, you know.
I mean, somewhat.
I'm curious to see though, like if that changes.
That, to be honest, like go back to everything. It is an ultimate, doesn't deal damage. Maybe keep it the way it is. But if he uses it while any of those characters ultimate,
yeah,
then
it should ruin it. Yeah, it stops it.
I think it's an ultimate. I mean, that's everything else is crappy. I mean, you're not really you pop out, you
right. Especially if they're taking the burn card.
I prefer that because it's more of a skill oriented. Do I use it now too? Their ultimate. Yeah, then that makes it more of a dynamic of a strategy. Yes.
Yeah. So I wouldn't mind seeing them change it to see how it works, but it would be highly frustrating to be a Ruckus or a Grok using.
That would be.
But it's part of the game, right? Yeah. Part of the game. So if we scroll down, so that's basically Pip. It is nice to see that they're kind of working on Pip because even though he is strong, they did kind of mess with him a little bit, like by taking Masterful off of him and then making from above a specialty card. So it's nice to see that they're trying to do some stuff. Yeah, I mean, but Drogo's has. So it's hard, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Yeah. Ruckus, his general health was increased from 2,400 to 26.
I don't like that.
I don't know if I like that either because it's weird.
He already had a lot of health.
It felt like he had a lot of health, especially with the two cards where he had a shield, and then he could pop his shield and then get hit down to below at like 30% health, and then he gets another 800 damage shield, depending on the cards you took.
Yeah, so, I mean...
Yeah.
I don't think he needed that, but okay. Done. You like the damage reduced.
Reduced down now from 85 to 75, so a full 10 per each one, which again, you nullify from 10 probably does about 100 less damage per second, which is nice if you're playing against him.
Yes.
Yeah. Emitter, you have it says fix an issue where the blast shields that slam down during emitter would disappear immediately. I don't know what that is. I've never experienced that. But
shield that slam down during.
Yeah, I don't know what the issue was, but there's that, and then Hexafire update description. Nothing really. With Sky, just sound and polish for balance and fixes.
I mean, she's a pug star. She's never gonna be in the.
Yeah, I think Sky's another one that's really hard because if she does too much poison damage, it's impossible because you can't stop it.
So like the other thing I was trying to explain to Bacon back in the day when he wasn't on the West Coast, like
yeah,
you can get like 6 shots off before you can react to it because ping lag.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you never really know until it's too late. By the time you can react to it, you're dead.
Yeah, that's just a server issue.
Yeah, it's a server issue, but it's like yeah,
it's bad. West Coast is bad. Like no matter, like my internet here is 100 megabytes up and down, and I get like 120 because I'm connecting to an Atlanta. It's bad. It's bad. Yeah, especially with like how can you expect qualifiers to go well? Like whoever's closest to that server is probably even if they're supposed to.
That's true. Take advantage of the link.
Yeah, you can try. Yeah. With Ying, same stuff though. They just added new weapon firing sounds and polishing. Yeah, like I said, like these are fixes that are polishing the game to make it seem less closed beta and more open beta.
As people are getting better with Ying, you're starting to see her potential as a character because she does deal a lot of damage. Yeah. If you properly use her illusions to juke and move around, I mean, she is a
She can be crazy. I have a problem playing with her because I forget where I use my illusions, so I don't know where the hell I'm teleporting. There's been times where I play her and I teleport like right in front of somebody.
Hey guys, for advice, if you see an illusion, kill it immediately so she can't teleport.
Yeah, she can't teleport to it. Exactly. Yeah.
Good counter, but
yeah, they fixed a bunch of different card arts. A lot of them were in temporary states, and they fixed a bunch.
Which is cool.
Yeah, which is gonna be fun. And the hard part to me when they change cards, I'm like,
yeah,
what is this card? Yeah, because sometimes it's very visual.
I memorize the picture, not the name.
Mm-hmm. So here are cards, balances, updates, and fixes. The card descriptions have had several grammatical errors corrected. I don't even look at that stuff, but it makes sense as like a game that you would fix that kind of stuff. Burn cards are now removed on the end of a round instead of upon death. I don't know, like, I kind of like that they were removed upon death. I thought it was cool. It made sense with the name, burn cards. They were burned.
Yeah, I mean, say like the first team completely bubble, capture, and payload, and they capture it and get the...
Yeah.
Then they have their huge amount of cards, but the way for the other team to come back is to kill them.
Yeah, exactly.
But they already have this huge buff, like the items.
You can, or purchasing cards is now allowed when you are dead. So I think what that does is it makes it so that you don't have to sit in the base.
Yeah,
and
so
buy
like
cards
if you capture it, you spawn at that point, which now because you're dead, you can purchase it at the run all the way back home.
Exactly. So that's one thing is you can do it from the forward spawn. So if you captain, you're pushing the payload, you can buy that, which was hard because we talked about this a lot where we had capped it, but then it's hard. You get to a choke point, you can't go, and they're just racking up eliminations. All of them are, and they just go back into their base if they die, and then they buy the cards, and they could really stop you from getting it. And if they stopped you from getting it, they were getting 550 credits for the next round, so they weren't really losing anything. And now that changes because
which is good.
You can buy them if you're the. Let's see here. This is a huge change in my opinion. You can now only purchase one bird card from each category.
That's cool to me.
Yeah, I think it reduces snowballing.
It does. It reduces snowballing. It's now. It's more. You can't just stack a bunch of damage.
Exactly. Like you can't have even though aggression is now taken out, but you can't. Before you could take aggression, you could take wrecker, and you could take, and then you could take something else. Yeah, which was all damage. Now you really have to think about who's taking what.
It's more of a strategy.
It's more of a strategy. Yeah. Cool. And like we talk about, this is an FPS, so there should be with any MOBA there will be some sort of snowballing. No matter what, there always is going to be. Let's be honest. But with this and an FPS, you don't want there to be. So creates comeback.
You want comebacks. Yeah. You want to see the underdog come back or something. The game.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. The other thing too is at the start of the first round, each player on every team gets 200 credits. So you can choose to save those credits for the second rounds, or you can buy like blast shield or gather and cauterize. So you can kill someone, you get your health back, and then you can reduce their. Which is interesting to see what people will do.
What makes it hard for me is the defense because you Haven
or blast shields.
Which is like
at the beginning, or you can just save it. But then at the same time, like you have to kind of base your choice off of what the other team does. It'll be interesting to see if people take master guiding to begin with, so they get to the point faster.
Yeah, at this point, it looks like it might be something you don't have to do.
Yeah, you might just have to do it. Let's see here. Aggression and develop, like we said, are removed from the game. Aggression was the more damage per hit, per weapon hit, and develop was 600 health increase, which it's actually, to me, those were the most snowbally.
Yeah, I mean, develop before it was 300, they made it 600, and aggression was 10.
Yeah, and that was like 15, I think. 10 or 15.
10, and then it went to 20.
20, yeah.
That's insane amount of damage.
Yeah, especially with a low amount of health that a lot of champions had.
So if you ran those two, I mean, you just...
Yeah, just unless someone else was taking them, but if you kill them before they kill you, and they're then removed, you are going to wreck everybody. So that's the burn card fixes in general, fixes on that kind of stuff. And then if we look at Barrack, they reworked Kindling. So it says when lockdown is activated, if your turret or barricade is not active and on cooldown, the cooldown is reduced by 25-50%. I actually don't know what this does too much. I'm not a huge Barrack. Like I played some of him.
What is lockdown? That's my question.
I think lockdown is don't even know what lockdown is, actually. I actually don't know
What's
what
his
that
Q
is.
dot?
His Q is a turret, and his right mouse button is the shield. So I'm not really sure what is counted as lockdown. Maybe lockdown was his ultimate?
His dome shield. ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the name of it was.
Oh, maybe it is. But
Yeah.
then you use that and reduces turret or barricade. What's that even mean?
Yeah,
It
exactly.
reduces the turret or the barricade.
Yes,
How does it
it-
decide which is...
Yeah, if your turret or barricade is not active and on cooldown, the cooldown is reduced. So basically, if you're taking this card, it's reducing.
So is it
your-
N/or is it just either of the two will be just...
I think if your turret or barricade is not active,
Mhm.
so as long as it's on a cooldown and you have this card, it will reduce the cooldown of lockdown.
No, not knockdown.
Or reduce the cooldown of
the
your turret and
or
barricade.
barricade,
Yeah. So when it says "or," that is it's a weird phrasing because you don't know, like, okay, if both of them are on cooldown, which one's being reduced?
Yeah, which one
are
is
both being reduced? Or is it just one?
prioritized under the card.
Yeah. So I might need to look at what
Facial
lockdown actually
grammar,
is.
please.
Yeah, exactly. Drogos, masterful for this card, which is a specialty card on Drogos. Damage bonus no longer applies to Salvo. Salvo was his Q where he's shooting all 6 of his shots at once,
Which I like.
which is nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's so easy to hit them all 6 times if you're pretty close. So if you're doing, like, you know, even if there's 2 champions next to each other and you hit them, like, you're doing so much damage.
That, and also if you're a tank, it's just...
You're almost dead. Yeah.
So, not fair.
Spitfire was a card that increased accuracy on Salvo, but it looks like it's no longer going to do that, and it now reduces the cooldown of Salvo. So
Per
instead of increasing the accuracy, it's going to reduce the cooldown,
Oh my
which is a
gosh,
buff.
can you imagine 2 seconds per hit? What's the cooldown of you currently?
Dude, I don't know what it is. I think it's like 15 or 20 seconds though. I think it's
Is it
pretty
that
long.
long?
I think it's
That's
pretty long.
an exaggeration, but I mean,
Maybe, yeah. I'm not
yeah,
sure what the
say
base
you have
is.
that Spitfire and you use your salvo. Boom, you
12
hit,
seconds.
You happen to
Yeah.
hit all 6.
Yeah, it's
It's
12
back
seconds. Yeah, it's back up, ready to go again. But it does take time to load. But still, yeah, it's fun.
Oh, kind of cool.
It would suck, but it'd be fun. Depending on which side you're on of it, it could be good. They fixed a bug on Hot Swap where the reload animation was not any faster with this card. So I think Hot Swap was obviously talking about the salvo reload speed.
Do you think so?
Yeah, and so the animation wasn't any quicker. So I think that's what it is. I can't think of what else it would be because they have deft hands for a card for reload speeds. Has to be. So
Frostbound.
basically, Hot Swap wasn't working. Is
Pretty
what
much.
that says.
For the animation was.
Mhm.
So would he still be reloading then firing?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
for
maybe it
curiosity?
seemed weird. Yeah, that's probably it. Eevee, Frostbound, it reduced duration per rank from 2, 3, 4 to 5. So from common, rare, epic,
Which I
and
like.
legendary to 1, 2, 3, 4. So it reduced about a second.
A second, yeah.
Yeah, which
Rather
is nice.
than
Yeah, rather than like getting rid of the game. And to be honest, like that doesn't seem like too like it's not horrible. It's a second on each
Yeah.
one, which is fine. Because what I've noticed too with cards is sometimes it's like the 3 seconds don't matter because you kill them in 2. You know, so then you just take the lower card so you can take a better card of something else. I've
Exactly.
noticed that a lot when you really start to crunch numbers. That's what you see that
Mhm.
happen. On Fernando, Dire Need, it changed the shield health from 200, 300, 400, 500
Which-
to 125, and they
I was
lowered it
gonna
down.
love it. They didn't. Would they nerf the early game? I'm not that early, but the
The lower tier
lower
cards.
tier cards. But
Yeah, so the common, rare, and epic were all decreased, but the legendary stayed the same. Yeah, which is fine because this is one of those cards where you could take the rare and have a 300 plus shield, and then
That's
take
huge.
the legendary of something else that was causing you to be able to destroy it, which is nice. Yeah, plus shield wise, shields are so hard on certain champions, especially let's say if you're Pip and you're doing 300 damage and someone has a 300 damage shield, you have to shoot twice to deal any damage, even if they're close. And by the time by 2 seconds of you shooting, by the time Fernando has hit you, he's probably killed you. Especially if he has help.
tooltip.
Yeah, tooltip incorrectly stated this ability was doing 150, 300, 450, and 600. It has been corrected to show 100, 200, 300. Incinerate is using his Q to cause, I believe, damage. Just damage from go up. And this was always the intended value, which now you're seeing that he won't be as strong because it's a protector. They reduce some of his cards to make. Because what the dire need does too is it makes it so you have to take your cards so that you can't at like hot pursuit. It makes you focus on being a protector on the point. Grok had a bunch of fixes and changes, but because of some of his abilities were changed, they just changed the descriptions on the cards and how how it worked. But Totemic Ward increased the health of Totemic Ward's shield by 400, 800, 1200, and 60. So a shield will actually be pretty depending on the cards you take.
Yeah. Because if you have
we'll see.
I mean, yeah.
It will be interesting to see if people will start to take Grok, Barrack, and Fernando.
Taking 3 shields?
Because 3 shields, you could just sit there.
And just constantly. That's true.
Yeah.
And have 2 damage.
And because if you're using Grok, you have a dome shield, and then you could place Barrack shield somewhere, and as soon as those got deleted, and you could heal inside Groks.
I mean, why just them? Throwing a ruckus in there, and then
you have another one. Yeah, exactly. And
so when they're all down, just boom, shoot out your emitter and take some more damage.
Yeah, so it will be interesting to see how people will do it, and if it will matter. Crackle, so his specialty card was reworked. They don't really say too much about it. Outreach was reworked, so increase the duration of Totemic Word by 1, 2, 3, and 4 seconds. So that would be his shield would also be increasing in time, not only damage being health, but time too. They removed Invigorate from the game, which is basically which I don't know if the removing the 3 damage per tick and Invigorate what that will do to. But he does have the shield, so like I said, it is pushing more towards the protector
front line, which is cool. I like that.
Yeah,
this Grok was one of those on balance where he was able to do a lot of damage and survive. Really.
Especially
his fight ability is huge.
He probably had the best kit.
He did.
Yeah.
He was able to do everything. He healed
especially
himself.
With his ultimate.
He had a great escape, and he dealt decent damage. And his ultimate.
His ultimate is still amazing. Yeah. It's probably the best. Totemic Rescue. Armor dropping below 30% of your max health grants you a 150, 300, 450, and 600 health shield for 4 seconds. So this is different. Before it would heal you instantly for a certain amount of health. Now it's giving you a shield. So it's much like Barracks when he uses his rocket boots, he has a shield while he's running. Or Fernando is boosting away with his. He'll have a shield. So this is a little bit different. Or like Ruckus dropping down below a percentage, he'll get emitter. So this kind of that's basically what Totemic. But it's not a shield on you; it's a bubble shield. Or around everyone, exactly. So interesting. Be interesting. Grover Journey changed health per second. They reduced it a lot actually. They reduced the lower tier ones.
The lower tiers and then increased the later.
So instead of it being 120, 140, 160, 180, it's going 50, 100, 150, 200.
So they're making like common cards, not something. You have to decide whether you want to go this route or the other one. Which I like. Yeah, it makes it so that you can have the best of both worlds. Yeah. Rebound reduced cooldown reduction from 25, 40, 55, 70 to 15, 30, 45, and 60. So again, rebound, which is I believe is Vine, being able to use which is
Vine.
cool.
Again, like you can't. Yeah, his Vine, man. The hardest part about Grover is knowing the range of your Vine.
That's true, but I mean, if you miss, you get.
They do give you another shot. I don't understand that much.
The logic in that, it just doesn't make sense. Here's a skill shot, miss it, try it.
Yeah, here you go. You can go up again.
Keep trying.
It seems like it would be pretty easy to just add a feature where it showed you where it was hitting. Like they put like a bullseye on the wall.
So like, say you hold it and then it triggers out like a blue line, and if it's too far away, it turns red.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom.
Yeah, done.
Fix
it. Easy, perfect.
If you don't want to have any skill to it, there you go.
Exactly, especially if you can just keep reusing it. Pip, so his malady, which is a specialty card, which reduces or increases the damage on your first hit for people over X amount of health.
Yeah.
So reduced damage bonus from 15, 30, 45 to 60 to 10, 20, 30, 40. There's going to be doing less damage per hit, but the threshold is lower. So as long as they have 50% or more health, you're doing more damage on your hits. So even though you're doing less damage, you still have.
I don't know about that because that's a pretty big hit.
Yeah, I mean 20% on the legendary card.
You can keep hitting them.
Yeah, you might be able to hit twice.
Maybe at the outcome, you're dealing more damage at the end.
Who knows? Yeah, you just have to.
I have to do the math.
Yeah. Ruckus, so his countermeasure. Countermeasure is when he spawns a shield dropping below a certain amount of health. Shield health reduced. So before, if you were taking the legendary card, which no one was, but if you were taking the legendary card, you were getting a 12 around you, which is just ridiculous. But now instead of it being 3, 6, 900, and 1200, it's 150, 300, 450,
by 50.
Basically 50% each one, or exactly 50% on each one.
Anybody who's been using it, sorry, and most of the people weren't using it.
Which now, if you're using the rare, which I think a lot of people were taking the rare countermeasure, that's basically one hit from every. Except if you're dealing like a Fernando, or you're dealing low damage overtime. This is a new card, which it's called Extended Magazines. Upon activating Hover, which is his moving around, you gain ammo. 10, 20, 30, or 40 ammo. So let's say you're running out of ammo, you just pop your hover, fly around a tree really quick, whatever you're on, and now you have full ammo. Easily.
You watch this clip 60, right? Make sure
I can't remember.
It's not. Why is it called Extended?
Because it's very easy to get. I mean, they just named it something, but it would be very easy to do. Like, boom, I have full ammo again.
Hover, just like fly around and you have ammo. Or is it faster just to reload? Because
it's probably fast, but I think it's instant. You know how when you're shooting with an Roxas and you activate your first nether step and it gives you like 4 ammo? Yeah, it's like that. It'd be like, you pop up in the air, come back down, you have 40 more ammo. It'd be pretty scary.
I'll see, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Deals a lot of damage.
Yeah, he does. Projector, which was the shield that would kill upon everybody by using it, is removed from the game.
I'm glad they removed that.
Because he's not a protector.
He's not.
Yeah, which is nice. Gunship was removed. Gunship was allowing him to shoot.
Did you say he's protector or is projector?
Projector. What did I say? No, I'm saying he's not a protector, so that's why he doesn't have
Gunship removed from the game. Good.
Gunship, which was allowing him to shoot while in hover.
Thank you for removing that.
So even though you get the ammo from going into hover, you can't shoot. So basically, you're wasting your escape to get more ammo. So you hope that if you boom,
I don't see the need of. Sometimes you reload so fast. Like he
does reload pretty quick compared. But either way, he can't shoot while he's flying anymore, which
I like that.
Which really helps because he could just mow you down, chase you down, and mow you down.
Card where you can hover for a very long time,
which is now
use your shield, and
exactly,
that's insane.
Which was fuel reserves, which is now a specialty card. So you have to choose now because they removed 2 of his special, or the only 2 of his specialty cards. He has proximity still, but they removed the 2, and now they made Warden, which gives you a shield buff, a specialty card. So you have to choose what do you want to build utility for yourself, or do you want to deal escape, because that's fuel reserves being able to chase people down.
They were flying around with a huge shield and dealing massive damage and reloading fast. There's no way running away, and they can fly in the air for days.
The one thing about Ruckus I can say is he's not very good 2v1, unless they're low.
That's true, but doing his 2v1s when they were running the cars he's
like
and really exactly the other one, and that's a little unbalanced.
Yeah. Well, now we have Sky. She actually has a new car. It's called Decrepify, which is awful. But anyway, her poison bolts is that your poison bolts reduce the target's healing by 5, 10, 15, or 20%. Which means like if you're putting up even if you shoot twice, put poison bolts in it, it's basically giving you the burn card of
Cauterize. Yeah, I was thinking that too, but
the heal over time.
Okay, we have.
So I'll reduce that.
There's a couple chances.
Well, I mean healing over time meaning they're out of combat. If they're out of combat, they won't heal.
Well, even if, is
that how it works? It'll work like that, or it'll only work for the people who are healing like.
Well, you don't start healing until all actors are. The only time you ever heal, so pretty much until you.
Yeah, depending. So I think it takes 3 seconds.
I think it's for characters who actually
like Pip,
like Grover, Pip, any character.
If you can get Evie in before she uses her ice block, might reduce the healing of that.
But yeah. So that's the.
Spectre, they fixed an issue where Sky sometimes was not going stealth when entering smokescreen. I didn't even have that issue. You go stealth.
You go 100% stealth.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in it. Or
Yeah, you
when
have to go. Yeah, when
you have
you're
to be in it, nobody can see. Oh, yeah, it works. I
Yeah.
never had that issue.
But the one thing, what I know, what people were doing was they were using sneak attack or stealth attack or whatever it was called, backstab, whatever it's called. They would go invisible. They'd hit hidden. They would hit them out. They do like 400 damage. They throw their smoke screen down, go inside the smoke screen, go invisible again. Damage. So that's what they were using. And if it was causing you not being able to use that card, it's good that they fixed it. That's it. Yeah, that is all the fixes. You know, just everything that they've decided to do with the champions balances and updates and card balance and updates. I'm hoping that this is supposed to drop tonight, Thursday, May 19th. And it is hard, though. You know, it is hard to get these big updates right before a qualifying 100K.
It does suck, but they haven't really done anything that really matters. The Grok and
yeah, really changing the champions, reworking them. Yeah.
Everyone
and then
else
there's small fixes.
Small fixes, nerfs and damage.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm optimistic on this. It seems like with all the polish and the general fixes, which we didn't even go through, we went through like 3 of 5. Mm-hmm. Like we barely them. It seems like they are getting very, very close to releasing this for open beta.
I like that. Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah.
The game is pretty much there. It's time for
a lot more people try to get it going. Especially with Overwatch and Battleborn. Similar genres, not same game, similar genres, so they're gonna be. But overall, I'm looking forward to it. I think the top 5 picks, in my opinion, could be still Barrack, Grok.
Fernando
might be in meta, yeah. Ruckus still, I think, is still strong.
So yeah, so those 3.
Yeah, and then you know it is interesting to see what damage dealing, because each one, like, Androxus has an amazing ultimate. It can mow down people.
I love Androxus ultimate and his reversal.
Mm-hmm. And then Pip's ult can be good if you can hit multiple targets.
Pip is
or if one person on their team is giving you trouble.
That's yes.
Because if everyone focuses him.
The other thing I don't like about his ult is that everyone's still.
Yeah, it is
really spread out.
But that is a little hard. Yeah, I'm curious if the best way to do it would be if you have a Pip and a Grok or a Pip and
and if there's any shield, sometimes you throw with the lag.
Yeah, exactly. So it's that's the hardest part. It's so frustrating when you throw down a Pip ultimate and throws up a shield, or if it hits the payload.
Like, because I don't know if it happens to you. I've thrown it and I haven't seen a shield pops up.
Yeah, it pops up, which now will stop because it won't explode well. It has to hit it. But that is the closed beta patch 26 coming out May 19th, and we're gonna play it tonight, and we'll probably make a little bit of video tomorrow and talk about how we like the actual change, how we like how they play. So thanks guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and I'll put MoRZe's channel down below in the description. But take care guys, until next time.
X Gaming.